How you doing today, folks? So this is going to be another rant because I've had some negative experiences recently, and it's something that I just really don't understand. So this is primarily about price policing, upcharging, and scalpers of products. Now, if you buy a car, okay, the moment you drive that car around the block, the price depreciates. The value depreciates. It's not worth as much anymore. It goes from being new to being used. As soon as you buy a tool, for example, you use it, you're not going to take it back to the store and be like, oh, hey, these scratch marks build character, it's worth more now. Or it doesn't work that way. So when it comes to the whole price policing thing, you know, I feel like it's kind of necessary, right? Because we're in a strange space. EDC as a whole, be it flashlights, pens, high end or otherwise, and knives, they don't really seem to appreciate. There's Spyderco models that have been around for 15 years that are still sold to this day, and they're sold at full retail value. They're not considered outdated. They're not considered anything. They just keep on selling, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, right? Because if you buy a car from fucking 2010, it's not going to be worth what it would be if it was 2019. It just doesn't work that way. Now, something being antique, it's a different story. But these aren't antiques we're talking about. That's something that has to be like 50 or 60 years, and it has to be originals from that time frame, not a current one still in production. So it's a really weird thing. And the whole price policing thing, I really feel like keeps the community honest. Now, there's definitely wrong ways to go about it. You can be a complete dick about it. Somebody could be charging an extra $5 or $10 for something that's highly coveted, and you cuss them out for it. That's stupid. But for example, I recently got into it on Reddit with somebody charging an extra $125 for the Spyderco Shaman 3V with the red G10. And see, that type of thing just bothers me, right? If the knife's clearly not been used and you purchased it to make money off of it, that's not an okay thing. If something happens to be used or whatever, and then you've used it, abused it, or maybe you just used it and didn't like it. Case in point, I actually got one of those, and I got it in hand. I looked at it. The color looked a little different on pictures, and when I had it in my hands, I was like, I don't like this, and I sold it. I looked online, saw they were going for between $400 to $500 on eBay, and I didn't charge that. I opened it. I'm not an authorized retailer, so I can no longer charge retail as far as I'm personally concerned. So I sold it, and I sold it for $20. $10 less than what I paid. So it was like, I think it was $210. And I sold it for an even 200, or if it was 200, it was 190. Either way, whatever I paid, I subtracted $10 from it, even though it was never used. And I literally looked at it, opened it, flipped it open, messed with the compression lock for 5 minutes, didn't like it, and then put it back in the box. Now, I'm not saying you have to do something like that. That's kind of an extreme case. If it's a coveted knife, you want to add an extra 20, $30 to it, go for it. At the end of the day, you can choose to charge what you want to charge, but when people get into you for the whole price policing thing, like it's a negative thing, I feel like it's very much a necessary thing. If everybody had the mindset that, I have, for example, that, if you look at this logically in terms of depreciating value and everything else, also trying to help out the community, it wouldn't really be necessary. But as it currently sits, it's very much necessary because people will find stuff and then just upcharge like crazy. For a while there, the Capara was, you couldn't find it anywhere. And that was going for eBay for $400. The Spyderco, what's that called? The Sleesh or Swish buoy, you can still find going for between $500 to $700, and that was a $300 knife when it first came out. It's something absolutely crazy. A lot of the Coke tools and the Lynch pry bars or whatever, I've seen them go for upwards of 2 to 3 times their retail value. I mean, I understand these things are limited, but at the same time, like that type of stuff, if you choose to purchase it, you're just adding to the problem because people are always going to do that because they want to make money. You can't give them the option to do that. And it's an unfortunate thing, right? Because it might be something that you really want, but you have to kind of not get it because you understand that it's going to create this really weird dynamic of upcharging and everything else. Because as long as we are willing and we just bow out to paying those prices, they're going to keep on going. I would love a Spyderco Crewwear Shaman, in my Carta. Do I have the money to go buy one off of eBay? Yes. Will I? No. If I happen to see one on a secondary market for a reasonable price, I'll grab it, and if not, I will leave it alone because I refuse, absolutely refuse, to support people who scalp products, who upcharge ridiculous prices, or who try to tax this amazing community. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is my opinion. One thing I mentioned on the whole Reddit posting is that we are all entitled to our opinions. If you don't like mine, that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm not trying to force my opinion on you. I'm just voicing it. You can choose to listen or you can choose to ignore it. It's really and genuinely entirely up to you. And if you choose to ignore it, that's fine. If you choose to return your opinion back in a polite and respectful manner, I will hear it. That's fine. It's when this gets to this whole piece of this hostility where everybody's swearing at each other, or you're doing meaningless insults or just doing strange things, that it's just ugly. And it's not really something that's okay. And I really and genuinely believe the whole price policing thing is a necessary evil. Now, to be clear, it's irritating. Nobody really likes it. But at the same time, if we don't monitor each other, then who is? Because, again, we have this weird thing going on to where even though this is used, I can sell it for retail because it's in good shape. That's weird. It's pretty much only with the EDC community that you can do that. Like the Chavez, for example, because it's a group knife. Now this is between $300 and $400 when you buy it new. I have seen these go for $500. I've seen them go as high as $700. And it's just that supply and demand thing, but at the same time, it's the demand when people don't actually want the product. They see the demand, so they go about trying to find the supply, and then they upcharge with the supply, and it's just fucked up. And this definitely happens in communities and economics just in general, but in this little community that we have, we just shouldn't allow it to happen, because if we do, it's just never going to stop. What was once considered to be outrageous now is commonplace. And what will be considered outrageous tomorrow, might seem commonplace very soon. And it's just this thing that just keeps on growing. So this is where we started. This is where we are. And we can go unbelievably far. Until where the next thing you know, we're paying $1,000 for production models, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because that's just what the whole supply and demand thing does, and the laws of economics, if you give in to them. Now, again, this is just a rant, and I'm just some random jackass on the internet, to quote Nick Shabazz, talking about things that I probably don't even understand. But this is my opinion. I'm entitled to it. If you think I'm an ignorant, childish jackass, then that's something you're also entitled to. Either way, there is nothing but love here. As always, I love you all very, very much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your likes, your subscribes, your comments, your messages. I love you guys. I love this community, and I'm happy to be a part of it, for better or worse. As always, take care, and please do me just this one favor and do the best you can to be better tomorrow than you were today. And I do promise you will find your center in life. As always, take care. Bye.